I can swim. Just can't walk or dress myself. Take it easy. Take it easy.
duchess of thorns on your bed. I'm turning my flaws into children of chalk.
Salute, and welcome back to the Black Ocean. Now, so we're getting deep in with your host, the one and only Great Black Shark. Oh, yes, y'all know what time it is. On this Father's Day, we got to get back on these children, not children, children. The children of the chalk. Yeah, hey, how y'all like that new intro we're going to have over here for the Children of the Chalk series? Man, I said a couple of y'all said it was banging in there. Dad Miller TV talking about he was freestyling to. Hey, it's a hard beat, man. That shit it go tight in the paint though, man. Hey, I hope everybody has been having a great weekend. I hope those of you that made it to the rally in DC had a great time and got back safe. And even if some of you are still up there, hey, I hope everything is going well. I hope you made a lot of connections, did a lot of networking. It was a historic event. Proud of everybody that did their thing there, okay? Beautiful event. It's going to be one next year, too. So if you didn't make this one, you can make the one next year. Okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, I know you're wondering, GBS, what the hell is this on the screen? Why are we looking at this? Who is this guy here? Well, let me introduce you to one of the new mascots, because, see, you know, the Children of the Chalk series has the Alabaster community in an uproar. I mean, they've stopped commenting on the channel, okay, since they tried to be disrespectful during Black History Month and made me put my foot on their necks. So they've been whining in the email, you know what I'm saying? Some hit me up on Twitter. Oh, you gotta have a Children of the Chalk series because you didn't get your little one-tooth brethren trying to be disrespectful during Black History Month. I took that personal, okay? So now we got to focus on you. You wanted attention, now you're gonna get it. So they've been complaining about my mascot. You know, I had little Toasty up there, and then, I had ASSS, okay, Angry Saxon Styrofoamy in the cup. And then I had the Crying Mayonnaise Tear Jar. So, they just not satisfied. They're not happy with my mascot. So I'm like, you know what, damn it. Winners never quit and quitters never win. And I was not taught to quit. So I went back to the drawing board. And I came up with this gentleman you see here, King Saltine. Now, there's a story behind King Saltine. Yes, there is, because my good brother Seven Skills in the chat room, it was a meme that I saw him post, and I told him, I was like, oh, brother, I'm going to have to steal this from you. And as you can see, I've made a slight alteration to King Saltine. So he's going to be the ruler of the mascots on the Children of the Chalk series, and hopefully, Alabaster people, did I get it right this time? Is this better? He's got his little Saltine minions in the background because, see, ladies and gentlemen, this is how they look when they see Black excellence. Oh, this darkies. Look at them. They're living their best lives. We're out here burning in the sun, these sun dodgers. We just don't know what it's like to have melanin, so we're going to come after you guys. We'll troll you online. We'll call you the N-word. We'll make fun of all your atrocities. I'm like sitting here, are you doing all of that? And them numbers is still doing it. That's all I tell them today. I'm like, I let them get it all out their system. I'm like, you done, Giblet? How's them birth rates? Yeah, that's right. That's what you hit them with, family. Listen, y'all laughing, man. King Saltine, look. Now, I see the laughter in the chat. We're not going to have y'all disrespect their royalty. You better act like you know how to treat a dignitary here. You see his little crown, his little Burger King crown on top of his head, his little fiery, angry eyes. He's even got the king cloak on, okay? Y'all show some respect to the king. Okay, this is our new mascot. And speaking of respect, let me... I told y'all, man, they should have never started up with me. Y'all know how I am, man. I don't bother nobody, but when you start up with me, you're going to get what you get. So speaking of respect, let me scroll up and greet this esteemed guest I see join us over here this Sunday evening. I see Seven Skills in the building, Sandra Evans, Sidonian Snow, the sister V Moss being the fabulous legs. I see AK Sour Guy, Patricia Jenkins, the wonderful and brilliant librarian. I see down here, let me make sure I don't miss anybody, Sean Menz. See my good brother, Dad Miller TV. Hey, brother, have you tried those dragon flags out yet till you work out? Hey, let me know if you tried those out yet, brother. Trust me, that if you want some well-developed abs, I'm not trying to brag, I do have them. Try that workout out. I mean, it's gonna be kind of difficult at first, but trust me, you can handle it, brother, if you in the regular working out. Try it out for about a month. Watch how it improves your ab game. Salute to the brother Lee Holmes. I see in the building. Andre Mobley Sr. What's going on, my brother? Let's see. Oh, globally black in the house. Look, I'm gonna brag on her. This woman is a very talented chef. Very talented. That's right. Yeah, we're gonna put you out there. This sister has very talented cooking skills. Let me tell you something, man. Hey, she don't be playing no games. Y'all need to check that sister out sometimes. You know, she be doing it, man. Hey, let's see. I see my lieutenant, Tam Chen, in the house. What's going on, beautiful butterscotch lady? I see you. Let's see. I see Nightfall dropping the building. Hot One is in here. Yes, Hot One. King Saltine. Don't you laugh at royalty. Don't you do that. Let me tell you something, man. He will take one of those brittle saltine crackers and hurl it at you like a ninja star, a shuriken rather. You know what I'm saying? He'll hurl it at you. So don't get on King Saltine's bad side. Respect the king, baby. All right. Let me see who else I see in here. I see Derek Parker in here, man. Salute and welcome to all of y'all. As you can see, I'm in a great mood. Because I love giving them the business. And we're going to give them the business tonight, too. Because we're going to discuss one of their little demonic heroes and icons. Because they try to talk about Caligula and Nero. And we're going to get into Nero as well over here on the Children of Chalk series. They try to talk about them like they're so horrible, but they actually look up to them. And I'm going to prove that here tonight in how they are talking about them. But we don't look up to them. We're going to put them on Front Street. Because, see, when they try to talk about criminality and how bad black people are, and then they want to go and try to point to tribal beefs in Africa. I'm like, first of all, what's going on in Africa today don't have nothing to do with us. We had an ethnogenesis, okay? Salute to my continental African brothers and sisters that are on code and my Caribbean brothers and sisters that are on code. But their particular issues at this point in time don't have nothing to do with us. So when you point that out, we're like, oh, okay, you need to go talk to them about that. But nonetheless, I'm going to show you how even if you're talking about them, I keep telling y'all, I've said it for years, and I'm not the only one that has said it for years. We couldn't catch up to the criminality that they have going on. Oh, boy, because I told you, see, I've given you recent examples of their degeneracy over here on this Children of the Chalk series, but now I'm finna go back in the crates. Oh, yeah, we're going to be taking it all back and pulling up some of their historical clan sisters. That's right. That's what we're going to be doing over here tonight. So it's going to be a hell of an education over here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So without further ado, you know, of course, we got to get the sponsorship in. Oh, yeah. See, you know, since we back over here on the Children of the Chalk series, y'all know what we got to do, don't you? Oh, y'all know what we got to do. If you don't know what we got to do, well, you about to learn because, oh, wait. Before I do this, because, see, a lot of people find this one hilarious. If you are eating or drinking, or if you have your children in here and they happen to be listening to this stream, or if you are young and you done snuck up here and got online and started looking at this series, okay? Don't eat or drink while you're looking at this because you're going to crack up laughing, okay? All right? I want my people to be safe over here. You know what I'm saying? So without further ado, we're going to get into this sponsor. Then we're going to get working on some of these balances they're going to have going on here about Caligula's demonic ass. Let's go ahead and get into it. Up, sharpen my teeth on your scalp, took my chances in your head. Now I'm ready to eat just the lies and his will to survive. So many times Bet you too fast. Gotta savor the meal before me. Won't lose my grip on the strands of your hair. I must fight just to get another bite. It's the tooth of the lobster, it's the thrill of the bite. Chewing up to the ends of your follicles. And the last known survivor stalks your scalp in the night. And he's biting you off with the tooth of the lobster. Face the scalp, ready to eat. Chomping hard cause I'm hungry. They use shampoo, still we sink in these teeth. For the kill with the scale to survive. It's the tooth of the lobster, it's the thrill of the bite. Chewing down to the ends of your follicles. And the last known survivor stalks your scalp in the night. And he's biting you off with the tooth of the lobster. Biting down straight to your crown. With every chomp it's getting gory. In your head, now I'm not gonna stop. Just a lice and his will to survive. It's the tooth of the lobster, it's the thrill of the bite. Chewing up to the ends of your follicles. And the last known survivor stalks your scalp in the night. And he's biting you out with the tooth of the lobster. 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 Yeah, this is, man, y'all just don't understand. I keep telling y'all, man. I came up with that in one take. You know what I'm saying? Cause see, when you get them, I keep telling them, man, leave black people alone. Cause see, I know where to hit you where it hurts at. And yes, my sister Sandra. Yes, Sandra Evans. This is one of their classics, and they can try to get me because if they try it, I'll double down. Do you know how much pettiness I have sitting in the chamber over here in this laboratory? In this mad scientist laboratory over here? Oh, boy. See, that's why they stopped coming on my channel, because now I think they understand, like, oh, boy, this dude is twice the fool it take to be one. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm trying to tell you, man, that look, if they start back up, I'll make it even worse. I will make it even worse. So they better quit while they're ahead and just, hey, look. They wanted attention, now they're getting it. Sometimes they just don't get the attention they want, but I won't make you famous, I'll make you infamous. That's how I do it. Or I can't wait. I hope, listen, Alabasters, ASS people, angry Saxon styrofoamians. Come on back over here. Don't quit, don't give up. Come on back and get your troll on. I got something else waiting on you, boy, because, boy, if y'all thought that was bad, you ain't seen nothing yet. And yes, my Lieutenant Town Chan is King Laos. See, that right there just gave me an idea. Oh, boy. See, man, look, King Saltine is the new mascot. They may as well get ready to deal with it. It is what it is. But I digress, ladies and gentlemen. I want to show y'all something that, you know, I'm going to be speaking on because we got to have a bit of a serious discourse right quick before we get into a nice subject matter. This right here. Oh, yeah, the House, Congress, passes defense bill automatically registering men 18 to 26 for the draft. I'll just touch on this briefly. I plan to do a broadcast going into detail about why that is. In particular, I'm going to tie it in with some other things, but I'm just going to give you the Reader's Digest version of it. As you all know, we have a national security threat in office named Jim Crow Joe Biden, that is the president of the United States. And like a lot of the Democrats, okay, Democrats and Republicans, but primarily if you look back at the history, Democrats are really warmongers, man. And this senile old bastard, because I'm going to call him what he is, okay? I don't have no reverence or respect for him. That 94 crime bill locked up generations of black folks. He can go straight to hell with gasoline draws on. For the people that's like, well, he old. Fuck him. Okay? You know who else was elderly? You know who else was elderly? Because there's a difference between being old and elderly. Elderly comes with dignity. Elderly comes with pride, okay? Elderly comes with a spirit that is worthy of praise and respect. Those last two remaining survivors in Tulsa that they denied justice to, they're elderly as well. So that's where my respect and my spirit lies with them. My compassion lies with them. Joe Biden can go to hell because that's what he's trying to send this country. Okay, y'all know the acronym I gave him over there on my shorts. Yeah, I call him Biden. Okay, here's the acronym for him. If you hear it anywhere else, somebody stole it from me, okay? Okay, here's what Biden stands for. Beyond incompetent, destroying economics nationwide. That's exactly what Biden stands for. That's what he's doing. Yes, go Brandon. He can go to hell as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, the long and the short of it is this. You see the situation going on over there with Russia and Ukraine. Believe it or not, I can't really go into a lot of detail about that with my background because, boy, they get antsy when those of us who are retired veterans that were on the level that I was on start really talking about some of this stuff. But I will say this. Yes, there are operations going on over there as we speak. They was over there the minute that it started. To be honest with you, I can't go into too much detail, but I know how things move. Even though I'm retired, one thing about it, when you spend 20 plus years doing something, you start to recognize how things move. So, you know, that's the truth about that. The minute that started, there were certain groups sent over there. Can't really say which ones, but y'all get the picture. Basically, what this is a bunch of old geriatric tyrants up there in Congress on both sides of the political aisle, okay? Because all of them that voted for this, they ain't shit. You already got selective service for the men that you got to go ahead and sign up for. But now they're automating it because let me tell you what they're anticipating. I'm not trying to scare anybody, but I'm just going to give you the truth. They're anticipating that the further they keep pressing Putin, because I told you, Putin is not a punk. They're anticipating heavy casualties, okay? I know there's no pleasant way to say it. I don't bullshit my people. That's what they're anticipating. So you just may see something, and I don't want to see that. That's why my stance is I don't encourage young black men and women to go into the armed services. We've given enough to this country. Regardless of what I did, I won't tell you to do it. Okay, but if you do, may God be with you. You have my blessing, but it's not going to be something that I'm going to encourage you to do. I'll never do it. Okay, I don't give a damn how mad white folks get about that. They can kiss my ass. Look, what the requirement should be. See, this is why it's important that we had that rally in DC and going forward, Gen X, Millennials, and Gen Z. I'm going to tell you what I want young people to do, because don't be afraid. Don't be angry, because I know a lot of you that are parents, especially mothers, are concerned about this. But here's what's going to take to change things, okay? And believe it or not, if the right, especially millennials and Gen Z, that the ones that are old enough to vote, get on code, my generation as well, but if all of us got together and did this. See, the good thing about it is, and I'm talking about not this situation, but the situation with the United States government. The good thing about it is, in America, there's more younger people in here in this population than there are older people. Now, why is that important? When you look at most of the older people, whether they're politicians or the older class, not gonna call them elders, the older class that go and vote for these damn Democrats, etc., for these messed up policies that got the country upside down, they got one thing on their side. They get up and go and vote, okay? Now, I'm not saying voting is the answer to everything, but I'll tell you why I'm telling young people, even if you only do it just to try it as a strategy, get registered to vote and vote these old bastards out. There should be no reason why Jim Clyburn should keep getting back in office when there's a bunch of young people of voting age that can say, okay, here's what I'm suggesting. Get registered to vote, get his ass out, okay? And it's not even about supporting his opposing opposition that's running. If you're not going to run your own candidate, like our good brother Greg Marcel Dixon, who did an amazing job at the rally. Sister Vicky Diller, Afro Elite, Black Alpha Network. I'm so proud of those brothers and sisters. They did an outstanding job. You missed a hell of an event if you didn't go. But here's the deal. Young people, you should get registered to vote and attempt to get these people out just to see if you can legitimately do it. And if you come out in great numbers, because if you come out in numbers, they're going to get replaced. That's just simple math, okay? The only way, if a groundswell of younger people got together to decide to vote somebody out of office in a particular position, the only way it wouldn't get done is if they cheated you. So you should try it just to see what happens, okay? Because, see, the reason why I'm saying this, you get them out and then replace them with people that are in our age range. I say our, I'm talking about Gen X, Millennials, Gen Z. Why is that important? Silent generation and the boomers, listen, man, the ones, especially them folks, they're selfish. That's why this country is where it is right now. And I'm not talking about you if you're not one of them. I'm talking about the ones who the shoe fits. These old bastards, the law should be, if you get enough of them out and put younger people in that are more up to speed with current society, here's where I wouldn't have a problem with it at, okay? I wouldn't have a problem if this was the law. Okay, cool. You want to sign people up for the draft. You want people to go over there to fight your wars. Because, see, basically what this is a bunch of old bastards worldwide that's got problems with each other. You want to send young people to fight your battles. No, you old sons of bitches. You say you support the troops? Cool. A part of the bill should be half of Congress, half of the Senate. And whoever's for it, you should have to suit up and go over there. At least half. Oh, yeah, I'm talking Thanos. Yeah, that's what I would do if I was in charge. Okay, cool. It ain't gonna just be the young people dying. You gonna get your old ass over here and fight for what you really believe in. Let me ask you a question, family. Is that not what you're supposed to do? If you believe in something and you believe wholeheartedly in it, aren't you supposed to fight for it? I guarantee you, if this was adopted worldwide, you wouldn't even hardly hear of such a thing as a war. Oh, I know a lot of these Alabasters gonna be mad. You a retired veteran. You said that, you damn right. I earned my stripes. I earned the right to say what the fuck I'm saying. So I don't give a damn if you have a problem with me saying it. Because they think all black veterans are supposed to be a bunch of coons and ass kissers. Some of us are not. Some of us wasn't when we was in there, and we ain't gonna start now that we out, okay? I think that should be what should be done. If you believe so strongly in another country that you have a verbal disagreement with, because that's what a lot of this shit is, verbal disagreements, okay? And yes, it does affect trade routes, etc., but it's still mostly verbal. They're not touching each other. So if you really believe in what you're talking about, suit up and get over there in the theater of war. And you ain't going to be in no pencil push position. Get your bitch ass on the front line so you can see what those of us that were actual combat veterans had to see anytime we were sent to do anything. You need to get a taste of that. Ain't no going home, ain't no passing on. No, you going to be in here until it's done. Come on, get you some. Where's your patriotism? Don't you believe in America? See, boy, they better be glad that I don't have the stroke to do that, because it would be mandatory. I guarantee you they'll sit their old asses down. If worldwide, these world leaders were forced, if most of the people said, nope, we're not doing it, you got a problem with that president, get y'all bitch ass in a boxing ring, and you're going to settle that shit, may the best person win. And after you lose, that's the end of the shit. That's the way it should be. Well, we'll be in a hell of a lot of trouble, though, right now. So maybe we should start after Joe Biden get the fuck out of well, damn, if Trump get back in there. Yo, I don't know. Trump might have some hands to him. And then even if Trump don't, okay, Trump got a couple of secret weapons. We fucked if Joe Biden had to do that. His old ass. He don't, all they'll have to do is just confuse his ass. There's ice cream over there. Ice cream. You know what I'm saying? Senile bastard. But see, Trump would actually have a chance, okay? Trump could take off that magic toupee of his and fling it in your face and steal you a couple times. Then, hey, fight over with. Cheeto wins. Can you imagine if he was in Mortal Kombat, that would be his fatality? Fling that damn toupee off, hit you in the face, man, and coming over the combination? Cheeto wins. Cheeto man wins. Anyway, I got jokes, family. It is what it is, but I'm just saying, all seriousness, though, young people that are not even old enough to take their first drink, etc., should not be going off to fighting wars and die away from home. I've always felt that way during my tenure when I was in there. The reason why, look, believe it or not, I got some good white buddies. Now, we not so cool to the point that, I'm going to go around their families and then, but those that I serve with, they appreciate me because, when I was in my command, there I actually kept a lot of people alive. Okay, and I especially looked out for any black people that happened to make it into the ranks of the units that I was in. Okay, I always did that when I was there. You know what I'm saying? And I got a lot of respect amongst the younger white guys that was in there because I didn't believe in putting anybody's life in unnecessary risk. My motto was, we came over here together, we going home together. And that's exactly what I did during my tenure. And, when I got out, some of them that were, about to finish up or whatever, they stayed in touch. And look, some of the white boys, man, I'm going to tell you, boy, they did. Look, I ain't trying to say that, hey, they're the good white folks, but I'm just saying some of them would be highly offended if they ever saw me disrespected because they know what I did during my time in there with everybody. I was a fair guy, a fair commanding officer, okay? Those that don't know, my rank was petty officer first class, okay? And I wore different hats too at time. I chose to stay where I was for a reason because, one of the things I'll say this before I get off of that, one of the things that I didn't intend to happen was when like other, young people in my community found out what I was doing and before I made it, they wanted to try to follow that. And I was like, I didn't want them to do that. I had my own personal reasons for going in there. It wasn't financial, it wasn't for college or anything. I was trying to get a particular skill set to bring back to the community. And that's really what the long and the short of it was. Not going to say I didn't enjoy my time in there. I did enjoy some of it, but one of the things I didn't want was to encourage younger people to do that. Sometimes you never know how many people are paying attention to. And I damn sure am not a component of our younger sisters going into any branch of the service. So I'm going to get into why, later on. Okay. So anyway, I'll leave that right there. You know what I'm saying? But I'll be putting together a broadcast and touching back on this briefly and kind of doing an update on why things are the way they are. Because, yes, I'm not going to bullshit you. That is a bad sign. You know what I'm saying? When they're trying to do this because, I can't say why now because I see what's going on the world stage. I pay attention to geopolitics. So, yeah, they're anticipating, they're about to do something stupid. And it's probably going to be some heavy casualties. And with the new alliance between Russia and China, they basically, as you haven't been following that, they've agreed to have each other's back if either one of them get into a conflict with the United States. That's just the long and short of it. And North Korea is right there in the mix, okay? So anyway, that's going to be in a future broadcast. I'll get to it. I was asked to speak on that, and I just wanted to, give my people the truth. I don't sugarcoat things over here. I just give it to you as it is. But with that said, we're going to go ahead and get into what we're about to examine here with this demonically insane Emperor Caligula. Now, why am I doing this? Because a lot of people sometimes don't understand when I go back into the crates of history and present these things. Well, I keep telling you, if you understand the correlation between, history, past, and you see how it correlates to the present. You understand history in the past, see how it correlates to the present. And thank you very much, my good sister, Globally Black. I appreciate you very, very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay? And so, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to remove King Saltine off the screen, our new commanding mascot of the Children of the Child series. And we're going to get into examining this demonic emperor here, Caligula. And I want y'all to pay attention while we examine this here tonight. Pay attention and see if you see any of these traits in a lot of these local politicians amongst them folks, okay? Oh, yeah, this is going to be a very thorough education over tonight. So with that said, let's get started.
Caligula. He's the poster boy for sociopaths everywhere. The young Roman emperor had a fearsome reputation as a sadist, murderer, and raving lunatic.
The emperor's decided that he's going to declare war on the sea god Neptune. It's mad!
There are stories of women and children, innocents, being thrown off the cliffs to their death.
But was he really as bad as all that? Using the ancient historical record, the real Caligula will be uncovered. Investigators will put his turbulent life under the microscope with a range of scientific tests. New archaeological evidence will show for the first time the location of his bloody death. and a leading forensic psychiatrist will analyze his character, all to reveal whether he was mad or just plain bad, and how he stacks up against other ancients behaving badly. The Emperor Caligula. He becomes the supreme ruler of Rome at the age of 24. He's in power for less than 4 years before being assassinated. In that brief time, he commits unthinkable atrocities. Acts of cruelty that will ensure him a place in history. As a madman.
Caligula is very psychiatrically disturbed. His behavior includes murder, killing without remorse, and pushing every moral bound placed in front of him.
But was he really insane? To understand Caligula better, psychiatrist David Malott will examine his behavior and then position him on the unique behaving badly psychograph to reveal how he compares to other tyrants from history, like Genghis Khan and Julius Caesar, and Hitler's Nazi henchmen Himmler and Goering. Caligula's rap sheet is shocking. He holds magnificent feasts and has criminals beheaded between courses. And while his nervous guests knock back the wine, he rapes their wives. High-ranking Romans are flogged and executed. It's a public spectacle and a warning.
Now I'm gonna pause it right here and make something very clear, because it should be obvious, but I also try to keep in mind that we have a lot of younger black listeners from time to time, whether they catch it live or come back on the playback. A lot of them correspond with me via email or hit me up on Instagram, Twitter, etc., Patreon. But I'm gonna go ahead and put it out here on Front Street. The American government modeled a lot of the way it functions off of the Roman Empire, believe it or not. Okay, see, a lot of this is gonna click when you start hearing them describe his behavior, because see, just in the brief description that they gave of Caligula's behavior with his demonic ass, everything that they describe right there, corporate America does this. Okay, this happens. And we've all seen the diddler's behavior, but we got to ask the question, where did the diddler learn to do that? Okay, the diddler didn't start out that way. He got it from somewhere. You see what I'm saying? Then when you look at the Jeffrey Epstein, so on and so forth, we have all seen what Bill Clinton was into, whoever you want to name, okay? Notice that all of these politicians or whatever, they have similar types of scandals or what have you. They can't go as far as Caligula did in the open, but the things that they have going on behind closed doors, as far as like how they deal with each other and their political opponents and their enemies, and first and foremost, how they choose to treat the American public, who are taxpayers that elected these bastards. They've gone rogue because they're supposed to be representatives and servants of the people. They've turned into our rulers, and you look at how they try to treat us. See, there's a reason why I often tell you to get Dr. Neely Fuller Jr.'s work, okay? The compensatory racism, counter racist code, and cross-reference that with the 48 laws of power. Now, why am I still telling you to do that? On the one hand, with the 48 laws of power, it gives you the basic archetype of what white supremacy considers good leadership. Okay, that's the one hand. And then if you read the work of Dr. Neely Fuller Jr., you will have the best strategies to counter that anti-black racism, and you'll recognize those things. See, a lot of times when you study young black men and women, listen to this broadcast, it's good to cross-reference what you learn with other things, okay? This is what I do all the time. I practice what I preach. So if I recommend it, I'm telling you because I know it's something that's going to benefit you. But we're going to get back to analyzing this cycle here, because, see, let me tell you something, man. You're going to catch a lot of the way they're describing him, like I said earlier, it's not really going to be so much in a condemnatory fashion. You'll almost hear them describing him with a sense of reverence. I think y'all going to see that as we get further into this. Let it continue.
He even slaughters members of his own family. The horror stories are so extreme, they're hard to believe. Is the historical record to be trusted?
Our information about the reign of Caligula comes from two sources: Philo, a contemporary, and Suetonius. And it's Suetonius that gives us some of the most shocking, lurid details and stories that took place in the reign of terror of Caligula. Now, he's writing over 70 years later, and that's like someone today writing about World War I. But he's got way less evidence.
The hunt for evidence begins in Caligula's childhood. He is born in 12 AD and given the grand name Gaius Germanicus Augustus.
Gaius was the son of Germanicus, golden boy of the imperial family, who was essentially a military hero talked about in the same breath as Alexander the Great. And basically, Gaius is an army brat.
Young Gaius spends his early years living in a place similar to this, a Roman army fort.
He parades around the camp in a tiny military costume made for him by his mother. And the soldiers love it. They even give him a nickname, Caligula, which means little boots, after the tiny military sandals he used to wear.
When little Caligula snaps his fingers, even battle-hardened soldiers come running.
Imagine what that does to you. Your father's a hero, you've been spoiled all your life, and you can basically do no wrong.
This, then, is the incubator.
Now, I'm going to pause it right here, boy. Talk about irony when you compare and contrast history to present day. Doesn't that kind of remind you a little old Hunter Biden, a little old coked up ass? Doesn't that kind of remind you of that? Because, yeah, he got convicted, but he ain't going to prison, man. You know Jim Crow Joe ain't going to put his boy in there with the same folks that he sentenced during with that 94 crime bill out our community. You know he ain't going to do that. He'll get house arrest or something and a fine, and they ain't gonna put him under. Cause see, if it was our black ass, they would. But see, like I said, I'm bringing it up because a lot of times these politicians, and speaking of like that draft that they're trying to, go ahead and have automated here, a lot of these senators and congressmen, listen, man, they children don't have to go into nothing like that. If they do, they make sure that they get an administrative position far away from the front lines. I'm telling you what I know, not what I think, okay? So, the more things change, the more they stay the same, as the historical saying goes. And just wanted to make that point clear for y'all here tonight. Let's get back to it.
Dr. Malotte's case study exposes the impact that it has on the young boy.
Caligula's childhood had a tremendous formative effect on his character. It was a world turned upside down.
Yeah, you know they pissed off. Let me know if you can hear me in the chat. Oh, yeah, look. They angry, but we still going to examine this. I mean, because look, it's not like they showing you actual pictures of what happened back then, but we're going to examine this audio because there's several points that need to be made. See, I've said it many times, and it's their platform. They can do what they want. And I'm going to have an alternative to that because we working on something. We working on something. I ain't going to tell you what it is just yet, but we're working on something that's going to be a great alternative to a PewTube, okay? And I'll let y'all know when that's ready. I'm going to take my time and make sure it's actually right. It's not going to be no censorship over there. I guarantee you we're going to have complete control of that. But anyway, let me tell you something. We're going to go ahead and continue examining this. Salute to my good brother K right in the building. I see you. We're going to continue examining this. And I'm glad that y'all can hear me okay because all we really need is the audio to make the point because I can teach without visuals. But we're going to give you a visual since they don't like, us showing you all of that. See, they get antsy when you have a platform that's talking about teaching you something and trying to show you how it connects to present day. If I was up here cooning and buffooning and had Billy Porter and what's his name, Lil Nas X and all of that and trying to teach men how to wear dresses and teach you the child, little Liz, honey, child, they wouldn't have no problem. I would have 3 million subscribers overnight. I'm trying to tell you. They'd be like, oh, boy, that's the stuff we need right there. But I'm sorry, you're not going to get none of that, PewTube. Oh, you're not going to get that. What you are going to get is us continuing to examine what we were examining here before we were so rudely interrupted. So we're going to hop right back to it, ladies and gentlemen.
Instead of a child being surrounded by adults, this was a kid who was being bowed down to by the people around him, being told that he could do no wrong, no moral compass being presented to him. He wasn't a child, he was the general.
Clearly, it's not a good start. And it goes from bad to worse. The Roman Empire is ruled by Tiberius, a cruel and depraved old scoundrel. He's an early version of Stalin, right down to his secret police, who keep files on anyone who poses a threat, real or imagined. And the fattest file is on Germanicus, Caligula's father.
You got to remember, Germanicus is a war hero, which really means a lot to the Romans. And he's also next in line to the throne. Tiberius, on the other hand, is just a twisted, unpopular old man. And he's so paranoid that he's deeply suspicious of Germanicus.
Caligula is just 7 years old when Germanicus comes down with a mysterious illness and dies. It's all very suspicious. The histories say Tiberius poisoned him, but there's no proof. If it is murder, it would have an enormous psychological effect on Caligula. Modern medical science can now answer the question: was it a homicide? Toxicologist Dr. Timothy Erickson has read the historical account and found two vital clues. A robotic patient simulator helps explain his analysis.
We know from Germanicus' accounts that he had skin findings that were blotchy. These accounts are quite descriptive. The other very important account historically of Germanicus' death is he was foaming at the mouth immediately before his death. Nowadays we know this is consistent with arsenic poisoning.
But arsenic poisoning can be mistaken for a common and lethal disease.
What's classically described with arsenic poisoning is a rice water-like diarrhea, where you're losing so much volume through the diarrhea that it appears like rice in water. Most accounts would call that cholera, so it's another way to get people off the suspicious trail of arsenic.
Arsenic masquerading as cholera. It's a likely explanation.
He goes into heart failure, and then the body completely shuts down and he dies.
No one, including Caligula, believes Germanicus died of natural causes.
The death of Germanicus has a tremendous effect on the young Caligula. He sees his father, a great military leader, die. This likely led him to this fatalistic, perhaps nihilistic view of the world. My father was great, he died young. I'm likely to meet the same fate.
For the next 12 years, Caligula lives in isolation with his grandmother. Nothing is written about this period of his life. But what happens next makes the murder of his father look like a walk in the park. Tiberius summons him to the island of Capri, a resort now, but then a place to be feared.
I'm rushing to catch the ferry to get to the island of Capri. I want to explore there, what impact being there had on the life of Caligula. And I really want to hurry up because there's a storm coming.
Capri lies 130 miles south of Rome in the Mediterranean Sea, giving Tiberius some protection from attack.
We've arrived in Capri and the mood is gloomy, overcast, dark.
Like a Bond villain's lair, Tiberius's palace stands on the highest, most inaccessible peak on the island. Caligula has no idea why he's been summoned. But what happens here will change him forever. "19-year-old Caligula arrives at the island hideaway of the feared and depraved Emperor Tiberius. Caligula has no idea why he's been summoned here. This is the path Caligula would have taken to Tiberius's hilltop palace. He'd be very nervous. Why? Because Tiberius rules most of the known world and routinely kills off anyone he sees as a threat. He's already killed Caligula's father and his two brothers.
When I think of Caligula making his way here, I think of him having trepidation and fear and uncertainty. His family members have been killed by Tiberius. Is he next?
Only the ruins survive today, but what Caligula sees is a towering fortress. It's a nightmarish place, the site of unspeakable atrocities.
Roman society is violent and graphic. People are used to the arena. People are used to condemned criminals being killed. Here, Tiberius is not subject to the public scrutiny. Here, Tiberius can do whatever he wants. And the stories of this recluse, this kind of Howard Hughes, are fantastical. And he's a depraved, dirty, sick, twisted old man. And Caligula finds himself on Capri, trapped. There's no way out. Only the emperor will allow you to come and to go.
Caligula now gets a masterclass in depravity.
Caligula has to go along with whatever takes place in this villa.
Like a James Bond villain, Tiberius enjoys creative killing.
I'm at what's known as Tiberius's Leap. And it's over 1,000 feet above the sea level. And it's from here we are told that Tiberius has condemned criminals, people he doesn't like, thrown off the cliffs to their death. We are told if they still survived, there were people down below in boats with oars. And if someone popped up above the surface alive, their heads would be smashed with the oars.
Tiberius's Leap isn't just for criminals.
There are stories of women and children, innocents, being thrown off just for the pleasure of Tiberius. Caligula would have witnessed all of this.
Now I'm gonna pause it right here because see, for those of you that are not up to date on your ancient world history, they trying to beat around the bush about it, but old Tiberius, his old freaky ass uncle there with his deranged, degenerate, predatory, pedophile ass, that's, yeah, you heard me right. He called the young boys in his palace that he would have swimming around his pool, his little minnows. That's what he called them. Mm-hmm. So here's the thing now to go to show you, like I said, the more things change, the more they stay the same. You had parents back then that would send their kids up there for a fee. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. See, this type of stuff, man, this been going on when you see the degeneracy that going in them folks' society. Now, you might be saying, well, GBS, what does that have to do with present day? Well, how many of you saw that special, I think documentary that came out about what was going on at Nickelodeon? Okay. Oh, I'm going somewhere. You better understand that them folks, they'll do anything to get their hands on a bag, even sell their children to predators. Okay. See, this stuff been going on. And see, as we know, looking at present day, who has the highest numbers of child molestation, okay, violating the women, anything to do with any type of degenerate, depraved sexual act. There's a story I'm going to post on Patreon speaking of that because I can't even go into that here on YouTube. So be looking for a post after the broadcast on Patreon about something I can't even talk about on here. I'll discuss that on Rumble. But let me tell you something, man. They hold the highest numbers for being predatory towards women and children right here in present day. Now, where do you think they got that from? See, reason I'm pointing this out is, and see, this is what a lot of the wenches of Craftington, as I call them, the bed wenches, and some of the bed bugs don't understand. They look at the people far before them to get inspiration as far as the depravity that they practice today on their own people. So now if they'll do that to their own people, what you think they'll do to us? You understand? What you think they'll do to us if they do that to their own people? That's the part you can't get the Winchester of Crafton and the Bucks of Bennington to understand. They're not going to treat you better than they treat their own people, all right? So now, when you listen to a lot of this, you look at the Hollywood industry. Everybody know about the casting couch, okay? Remember Harvey Weinstein and all the rest of them? I mean, I'd be here naming name after name if I start going on. Y'all get the point of what I'm saying here. And see, if you start looking back at a lot of that history with them, you'll find out that, hey, they look up to things in ancient Rome and such like that, okay? Well, just letting you know, man, there's pattern recognition here that's very important when you start to look at the psychology of the depraved white supremacists today, okay? I'm talking about from Hollywood movie industry to corporate America, definitely in the government level. And see, I'm going to tell you something else, too. A lot of these goofy boule bastards in these sororities and fraternities, don't you know the stuff that they willing to do to get in good with them politicians, man? Particularly the Democrats. I mean, look, at this point, you may well just call the Democrats the modern day Roman Empire, okay? I mean, I'm not saying the Republicans are innocent either. They're not. But what I'm saying is look at the Democrats' policies targeting these children, man, with all of this sexual confusion, et cetera, et cetera. Y'all get the point. Let me tell you something, man. I keep telling people, a lot of people like, well, GBS, you a Republican? No, I'm not. I'm not a Republican or a Democrat. My views, if you had to put them in a box, would be center right. And like I said, I despise the damn Democrats for a lot of their policies and what they've done to our people, okay? They've given us benign neglect at one point, but now it's turned into malevolent neglect, all right? So at this point, hey, they're no friend to black people as far as I'm concerned. I can't tell nobody else what to do. But that's my personal stance on that. For those wondering what my politics would be, if you had to put them into a box, say it one more time, it would be center right. But see, getting back to this depraved bastard right here, this is just somewhat of a representation of him that I have on the screen since they don't want me to show y'all, their little documentary over there on the History Channel. That's okay. You know what I'm saying? Don't worry about it. All we need is the audio. I want you to listen to what was inflicted upon him in his youth and see a lot of times with those predators, if they were victims in their youth, they go on to victimize other people. And boy, if you're a young black person that's not up to date on who Caligula was and what he did, you about to get a hell of an education over here tonight. Let's let it continue.
Even for bloodthirsty Romans, murdering women and children is going too far. According to the historians, there's more, much more. Orgies, rape, pedophilia, torture, the whole catalog of bad behavior.
The stories tell us that Caligula abandons himself and participates in all kinds of sexual perversions and horrific acts.
Capri has an overwhelming effect on Caligula. He learns that life is worthless. He learns that the purpose of life is the pursuit of pure pleasure. And he learns to marry pure pleasure with violence.
Caligula sinks ever deeper into this twisted mental state.
He now begins to identify with Tiberius. I want
to take the time to point something out. My good brother Nightfall dropped there. He's actually correct. They are lying. And see, I'm glad you caught that, brother. They are lying when they said he was 19. Yeah, he was closer to 13 or 14. At the very oldest, he would have been at least 15, but he wasn't 19. He wasn't close to being a grown man. You know your history. See, I have a very smart audience over here. He's right about that. He was closer to like that age range there. I would say 15 at the most. He wasn't 19, almost no grown man, because like, look, I'll have to post some of that probably on Patreon about the rest of that. Well, it's out there if you want to find it, but he's correct about that. So they tried to kind of clean it up a bit. I'm so glad that you pointed that out, brother. Let's let it continue.
Be like Tiberius.
He wants to be Tiberius, the man who killed his family and now holds him captive. It's an early version of Stockholm Syndrome. Caligula has bonded with the beast. He now seeks what Tiberius has: total power.
Caligula learns what absolute power is. He sees from Capri the empire, and he wants it.
And he soon gets it, when Tiberius suddenly dies. The historian Suetonius calls it murder and names the killer, Caligula. There's no proof, but Caligula certainly benefits from the old rogue's demise. Rule of the empire passes to him and to Tiberius's grandson Gemellus, but Gemellus is only 18, too young to share power. AD 37. Caligula is 24 and has the world by the tail.
Tiberius is dead. Caligula is now the emperor. He makes his way to Rome on this very road, on the Via Appia. And the crowds turned out. They were excited. They were jubilant. They were ready to see a new beginning and their new emperor.
The first thing he does is distance himself from the feared Tiberius.
Caligula makes his way into the Forum, where he very publicly burns the secret files that Tiberius kept on Roman citizens. This is a grand moment. It's as if the KGB files are getting burned in public. This is a new beginning, and the crowd is enthusiastic about this move. Little do they know that Caligula has kept backup files of those same records.
Now, I hope you heard what they said there about Caligula making that, that show as if he was trying to destroy everything under the old regime of Tiberius, all the incriminating stuff that he had on his opponents and everybody else. He pretended to do that, but you notice they said he kept backup files. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this will be one of the earliest occurrences of a term I've often told y'all about over here called the uh-oh folder. Oh, yes, for those of you that never heard me speak on that term, the uh-oh folder is what happens, basically, whether it's the diddler or anybody else, where you start getting too high on your high horse trying to challenge them folks. They'll be like, oh, okay, we made you and you don't think we can break you? Yeah, you got your multi-millionaire. You done got $1 billion, but that's nothing compared to when we decide to snatch it from you. So if you go off script, okay. Remember what you did to get over here and get graces with us, when we had your little ass tooted up in the air and we recorded all that and you didn't know it? Oh, yeah, we recorded it. Oh, yeah, we got all that. Your drug habit, all that. Here's your uh-oh folder. Throw it down on the table like you're playing spades. That's what they do with you, okay? So you better understand that they got a lot of stuff in this government from the Roman Empire. A lot of the blackmail, a lot of how they carry on and conduct themselves as far as the imperialism. There's a lot to be learned by studying these figures like the demonic Caligula. Let's get back to it.
Caligula doesn't stop there. He panders to the masses, buying himself some love.
Roman society is basically divided into two groups: the ruling class, the educated people, the extremely wealthy people. Right? That's one group of people. The other is the plebs, the commoners, the mob. And you've got to keep them satisfied. You've got to keep them happy. And one way in which Caligula is doing that, and becomes quite notorious for doing so, is giving away money. How much money? Up to 2.7 billion bronze coins. And he's doing that in venues like the Basilica Julia, going to the top of the structure and throwing them down to the masses who are eagerly awaiting to scoop them up and take them home.
For 8 months, it's all sweetness and light. Then Caligula abruptly changes. Almost overnight, the benevolent dictator becomes a raging monster, a Tiberius clone. He turns on his people in an orgy of violence.
Caligula holds exquisite, elaborate banquets as the emperor. Ordinarily, this was an absolutely fantastic social highlight. But with Caligula, during the festivities, in front of the guests, there are flayings, there are killings.
And there's blood on the tablecloth. The historian Suetonius says it gets worse.
He would sometimes remove the wives of distinguished guests, take them away, rape them, and then bring them back to the banquet and discuss the sexual performance. This is outrageous. He thinks he can get away with it, and he's right.
Caligula is an equal opportunity abuser. Upper crust Romans who cross him are beaten or tortured and put to death in public arenas. Even the bloodthirsty Tiberius never went this far. Can any of this be true? One story says Caligula changes the rules of the gladiatorial games.
Gladiators are divided into different types based on the armour and weapons they use, and people would support a different type of gladiator a bit like they support football teams today. Now, Caligula's favourite gladiator was a Thracian, who was a quite lightly armoured gladiator, and he was usually pitted against a Murmillo who had more armour.
Rules are rules, and for 300 years no Roman ruler has dared interfere.
It would be like changing the rules of the NFL. Everyone else will hate your guts.
But Caligula, the story goes, wants longer, bloodier contests with more suffering. So he orders that one gladiator gets less protection. Would this work? Or would the more lightly armed fighter be quickly killed? To answer this question, two fight experts are wearing authentic gladiatorial armor. There's not much of it to start with. Military medic Fred Galvin is on hand to assess the injuries.
Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to be removing the arm guard from this gladiator. What we're going to end up having exposed now is going to be his biceps, triceps, forearm muscles, wrist. Wow, that would have been a telling strike. You can see where it would have cut through the muscle groups of the biceps and the triceps. As bad as this injury is, it certainly is not as critical as an injury along the inside of the forearm, which is where the arteries and veins run through the arm. Although bloody, this injury would not have ended the fight.
Next, Fred takes away the gladiator's shield.
This was a superficial slash across the abdomen. No vital structures in his abdominal area were struck. For example, his liver in this area, or his spleen located up here. Lungs on either side of the chest, and the heart located in this central region, they were not affected by this blow. It was a superficial slash across the abdominal muscles, and he will continue to fight another day.
The Thracian could probably kill his opponent any time, but if he doesn't put on the drawn-out, bloody spectacle Caligula wants, the Emperor won't let him leave the arena alive. When it comes to bad behavior, Caligula is unnatural. The question is, what transforms him into an out-and-out monster? Historical sources blame it on a mystery illness. Now, modern medical science will reveal the truth.
Now here they come with the, let's blame it on mental illness. No, the illness that this bastard had was he was demonically insane, okay? They always try to give themselves excuses, and see, the Brother Nightfall Drop pointed out another deliberate discrepancy that they have in here. Gemellus, his would have been Corula at the time. He was much younger than 18, okay? See, when they're going to describe what he did to him, they're trying to clean it up and make these people older than what they were in some instances. So, they'll try to do that with history. This is why you have to be well-versed on it so you can point these things out where they're not telling the truth about it. But I want y'all to listen to what they're about to describe next, going into trying to give him the mental illness card, so to speak. Let's let it continue.
Rome, AD 37. 25-year-old Caligula has suddenly become a violent and ruthless dictator. 2,000-year-old historical sources blame this change in his behavior on a mysterious illness. Today, more specific causes can be tested. A sudden personality change suggests brain damage. Romans saw this as punishment from the gods. Modern neurology points the finger at Caligula's licentious lifestyle. The two chief suspects: alcohol and sex. The sexually transmitted disease herpes in particular can lead to the brain-damaging disease herpes encephalitis.
Herpes encephalitis likes to attack the frontal lobes. The frontal lobe is thought to be involved in your expression of emotion and how well you can inhibit impulses.
Damage to the frontal lobe can cause a change in personality.
Very extreme emotional behavior, so periods of extreme elation, periods of extreme sadness, inappropriateness, sexual inappropriateness, violent or aggressive behavior toward other people.
Caligula's behavior is an excellent fit for herpes encephalitis. But there's one problem. Even with modern medicine, 3/4 of patients with this disease die. 2,000 years ago, Caligula's chances of surviving would have been even less. So if it's not herpes, what about alcohol? The suspect is something.
Look at all the whataboutism they going into. Look at this, family. See, when black people today actually have mental illnesses like that young brother down there in Florida that jumped on that teacher, okay? He actually is a special ed person, okay? But nah, they don't want to look at it that way. They want to charge him as an adult. And see, they should have had professionals there to deal with that young brother in that situation. It probably would have never happened. But see, they're going to all types of leaps of whataboutism to try to explain this demonic bastard's behavior away. It ain't got nothing to do with no alcohol. It ain't got nothing to do with, the condition that they tried to not diagnose him with, because they already said that if you had that condition, you're not going to live too long, okay? So he lived, longer than the time that you would expire from that condition. So they had to scrap that. See, you better understand that when it comes to their tyrants in history that they know they can't get around, they stay on code by trying to clean things up. You see what I'm saying? But see, that's all right, though. Those like myself and the brother Nightfall Drop and many others of you that study this, we know the truth, and it's important for us to make sure that black children know the truth on this history they try to hide as well. See, they not only try to hide our history, they tried to hide the worst of what they've done across the world. And it's our job to make sure that our future generations know exactly what they're dealing with, because see, today the same behavior has been passed down to them through generations. Anybody that doubts that, look at how they act today and look at how they acted back then. Let's get back to it.
Uniquely Roman, because this is not a simple case of alcohol poisoning. The possible culprit is a sweetener called defrutum that the Romans added to their wine.
They were making a dry wine, which probably wasn't all that good compared to modern technology, and they used the defrutum to sweeten it up so it became more palatable.
He's cooking up a batch of defrutum using the exact method the Romans used. What makes defrutum suspect is how it is made. The ingredients are boiled in a pot lined with lead.
They felt that any brass or brazen pots, as they called them, would spoil the juice that they're making.
The Romans didn't know the dangers of lead. So the question is, how much lead is in defrutum? A chemical analysis will provide an answer.
This is amazing because no one's actually, to my knowledge, taken the extract, done the process, and then tested it for lead. Back then, they appreciated the flavor of lead. It was almost like chocolate syrup on their food.
Listen to how far they're going to try to explain this away. See, if you don't watch these white supremacists and actually are well versed on what actually happened, they'll try to do this with all their tyrants in history. Okay? They'll always try to have an excuse about why they did what they did. Well, it was a condition. maybe it was lead in the pots. Just listen to this. It's comical in a sense, but see, those of us that actually understand how they try to do this in present day, we see where they got it from, okay? They keep on trying to excuse this away. And look, there's the only explanation, the man was evil. That's it. There's no whataboutism to explain it away. Let's get back to it.
The sample is analyzed in a mass spectrometer, and the lead levels are compared against a modern wine.
Okay, so average wines today, you take any wine off the shelf, it's going to be less than 200 parts per billion, and that's what's permissible. If it's less than 200, it's okay to sell.
Okay, well, let's look at the Frutum.
Wow.
29,000 ppb.
That's huge. It is packed with lead. I mean, it really gives you a wallop. I knew it would be elevated. I didn't know how high the levels would be, and quite honestly, they're much higher than anticipated.
So, there is more than enough lead in Frutum to cause chronic lead poisoning.
Once the patient starts getting really lead intoxicated or lead poisoning, then you start seeing the altered personalities, the delirium, the confusion. Could it have accounted for the personality changes, deficits, the radical behavior of Caligula? I think so.
Now, ask yourself, where do they ever look back in history at anything that a black person has done and then start making these types of excuses? You never see them do it, and you won't see them do it. That's only reserved for their particular tyrants in history, okay? But see, the reason why this is important to analyze here, when it comes to even these types of tyrants, if you won't just call them what they are, that goes to show that you have an affinity to protect them because you somewhat revere them. See, it's a lot that goes into studying these white supremacists here. And they tell them themselves. All you have to do is know what cues to listen for and see how it correlates to where we are, with how they conduct themselves in society today. Let's get back to it.
But Caligula isn't the only Roman who drinks a lot of wine. You'd assume many would get lead poisoning. One historical account provides an explanation. Philo writes that after taking power, Caligula's drinking becomes excessive, even by loose Roman standards. The lead he's consumed adds a new layer to his already disturbed personality. While Caligula's sick, crowds take to the streets to show their adoration for the ailing young emperor. They should have stayed home.
During Caligula's illness, many people made vows for his speedy recovery. One such person who made an oath was a certain plebeian, Publius Afranius Politus, and he offered his life for the life of Caligula. When Caligula recovers, he takes the man literally. He has him dressed up like a sacrificial animal, he has him with garlands and wreaths, and throws him over the city walls.
That done, Caligula turns on Gemellus, his co-ruler.
Caligula realizes, more than ever, Gemellus is only a heartbeat away from the throne. He is his co-ruler, although Caligula was the favorite of Tiberius. He has to be eliminated. Caligula accuses Gemellus of treason. The punishment for this is death.
Caligula doesn't bother with the legal niceties. Even Stalin used show trials to cover his tracks. All he offers Gemellus is the chance to die with Roman honor.
Gemellus is now being forced to commit suicide, and Caligula sends his goons over to make sure the job gets done.
Now listen to this. This is the reason why they tried to lie about Gemellus' age here. Listen to what Caligula is going to tell basically what will be considered a relative of his, what he's got to do because he views him as a threat to his power. See, you can't make this stuff up because, see, they practice the same demonic behavior today amongst their own, okay? See, here's the thing, family. When you look at what they're describing here and then you are contrasted to how these demonic white supremacists act today, one thing is for certain, if they didn't have any black people to do this to, they would be even worse amongst themselves because, see, go back and look at the ancient history of Europe, okay? When they went around us, they was inflicting terrorism on each other, okay? See that there's a lot that you can get that helps you understand white supremacy today. Again, like I'm saying, when you study these types of accounts in history of some of the worst tyrants, okay? Because all you have to do is pick any state in America, any government office in America, and you'll find somebody that exhibits that type of behavior. You see it coming out all the time. They rarely try to, they try to cover over the worst egregious behavior in the mainstream media. But thanks to the grassroots today and thanks to all these different media avenues, you can get the story today that they don't want to tell you and do your own fact checking, okay? This is the importance of having independent media because, see, a lot of this stuff that go on today, if they had their way, they would hide every bit of it, okay? That time has long gone, okay? The truth shall have its day, and all of us that value the truth will have a hand in making sure that everybody knows it. Let's get back to it.
What's going on in this guy's head? Dr. Malott thinks he has a bad case of narcissism.
He views himself as this grandiose, omnipotent figure. The dangers of a narcissistic personality is this inability to treat others with any level of empathy. He is in some ways a kind of ancient slasher movie.
He's Freddy Krueger in a toga, so out of control that he challenges the gods themselves. In Roman times, that's a big no-no. But Caligula's beyond caring. In the heart of ancient Rome stands one of its most revered buildings, the Temple of Castor and Pollux. Historian Suetonius writes that Caligula turns this sacred place into the front entrance of his palace.
A modern equivalent of such an action is if someone were to build a huge residence right next to the Vatican, bash a hole into it, and then use the Vatican as a vestibule, use the Vatican as a dining room area, hang out lights and disco balls and have big parties. It's that absurd, it's that crazy.
It's such an outrage, no subsequent historians believe it. But in 2003, Darius and his team finally reveal the truth. The dig they excavated here is now filled in, but what they found was astonishing.
Right in this area, we have definitely some Caligulan structures that are part of the palace. Now, coming forward in this direction, our excavations revealed here where the portico is, massive foundations. They continue in this direction. They draw all the way, extending to the back of the temple of Castor and Pollux. So what we have is massive foundations extending from where we know the Julio-Claudians are building palaces. We know that Caligula is involved, coming all the way to this point, butting up against the backside of the temple in Castor and Pollux, as the sources say.
This suggests that the story everyone refused to believe for 2,000 years is true. Not even the gods can stop Caligula. Now he's about to embark on a journey that the sources say point to something worse, that Caligula is stark, raving mad. AD 39. 27-year-old Caligula rules Rome through fear. But that's not enough for him. He wants to ensure his place in history by becoming a great general.
You need to understand that Rome's a military state, and there's one hard and fast rule: great leaders win battles. If you want respect in Rome, you have to go out and kick barbarian butt, and you have to do it spectacularly. Now, on top of that, Caligula's under the shadow of his father, Germanicus, who's a military hero, and he's desperate to get out from under that shadow. Basically, he's desperate to prove himself as a military leader.
So Caligula...
Now, for my younger black listeners, And those of you that are my age and older in the chat room, does this ring any bells of a certain president? There's been many of them, but one stands out to me. George Bush Sr. Oh, yeah, George Bush Sr., then right on down to Jr. Oh, yeah, look at what they sent the country to war for. Huh? The lies about Saddam Hussein having weapons of mass destruction. Oh, boy, the lies that they told about that. First of all, briefly, the reason why they tried to accuse him of that, if you know your history on that, they assumed that he still had them because Ronald Reagan actually did give Saddam Hussein some of his chemical weapons. Oh, yeah. See, when people try to act like America is this upstanding, moral nation with clean hands, nah. All you have to do is know your history and pay attention to what they've done worldwide. And see, this is why they've made so many enemies on the world stage today. A great deal is changing, but I just wanted to point that out. That really stood out to me, and that's the two presidents that I think of when you think about presidents that want to be wartime heroes. Because see, with George Bush Jr., for those that don't know, Saddam actually tried to kill his pappy. Oh, yeah, he almost got him with a car bomb, too. But, boy, that's a whole different story for another day. Look up your history on that if you're a young black person. But anyway, we're going to get back to examining this demonic madman here because, boy, if y'all thought y'all heard the worst of it, they really about to ramp. This dude right here is the portrait and definition of insanity in my book. Get back to it.
Decides to lead a military campaign more than 1,000 miles from Rome to the north coast of Europe. Suetonius writes that after 8 months, Caligula returns to Rome telling an extraordinary story, that he's conquered Britain, something even Julius Caesar couldn't manage. Suetonius also says that Caligula sets up a hoax. To prove he's conquered Britain, he parades captured prisoners, including a British chieftain.
There's a strong suspicion that the captives aren't really captives at all, that they're slaves of Caligula's who've been dressed up to look like barbarians. And the British chieftain was probably a turncoat who fled to the emperor for protection. But according to Suetonius, that's not Caligula's most outrageous act here. Imagine you're one of the legionaries ready to embark on the beach here for the invasion of Britain. And all of a sudden you get the instruction that you're to march out there and you're to gather cockle shells. Because instead of invading Britain, the emperor's decided that he's going to declare war on the sea god Neptune.
If this story's true, it's the act of a lunatic. But did it really happen? Suetonius was writing 70 years later under a new regime that wanted to discredit Caligula's military claims. So what was really going on? The answer lies 200 miles away on the banks of the River Rhine in Holland. There are a series of Roman forts here, used by the Emperor Claudius to launch an invasion of Britain 3 years after Caligula was here. Recent research by a Dutch archaeological team casts new light on the origins of the forts. The team dated the log timber in the forts using tree rings. It's called dendrochronology. It gives every piece of wood a unique pattern, like a barcode.
We do know the sequence of those barcodes, so to say, from 6000 BC to the present day. So when you've got the code for this particular piece of wood, you just compare it to the known sequence, and then you get an absolute match for AD 40. And even the season, winter AD 40.
The dating is so precise that it confirms the forts were built exactly at the time Caligula was here. They were not built by Claudius. The team discovers something else on the site, showing Caligula was planning something big. Money, and lots of it.
During the excavations of the fort, we found about 700 coins, and over half of them had been minted in Caligula's reign. What you see here is a coin issued in the reign of Caligula with a portrait of Caligula. We've got about 80 or 100 of these coins that were found in Alphen, and that is really unusual. It gives a clear evidence that at this particular period in his reign, a large amount of money was needed in this area.
So Caligula did build a chain of forts here, and he has a lot of cash. Dr. Kemmer's analysis is clear about what's going on.
Why they built the forts here in Caligula's reign is to control the supply lines and to have kind of storage bases where they could store the supplies needed for the big invasion. The River Rhine is a perfect transport route from the Mediterranean. Well, it starts in the Alps, but you could use the Rhone from the Mediterranean, move over to the Rhine, bring your troops and supplies over the Rhine to the North Sea coast, and from there launch an invasion to Britain.
It's not known why Caligula didn't follow through on his invasion plan. But 3 years later, Claudius did conquer Britain, using Caligula's forts. So Caligula's strategy was well thought out.
I think the evidence for actually Caligula preparing an invasion in Britain forces us to reevaluate him in a way. He's always looked at as a madman, and his entire undertaking of going to Britain is dismissed as being quite irreliable. But definitely something big was going on in his reign, so it wasn't a disaster after all. I think real things happened, important things happened, and not just the acts of a mad boy.
Caligula is not in.
Look at how they're excusing away his insanity, because the thing about history, when you go this far back, there'll be discrepancies here or there, but like somebody pointed out in the chat room earlier, when they tried the excuse about the lead being in the wine, that means, well, everybody that was in the elite class would have exhibited the same damn demonic behavior. But see, again, this goes back to how they stay on code, even when they're talking about the worst of the worst amongst them. Okay? And see, don't worry. I'm going to do a part 2 to this, because see, I got some stuff on him that they ain't going to be able to censor. Okay? Because they've given a brief overview and they kind of pussyfoot around with it. Nonetheless, though, this was one of history's most insane tyrants. And again, I want you to hear how they're trying to clean it up. They're trying to make people older than what they were to take away from them, because they didn't really go into detail about a lot of the madness. When I do part 2 of this, we're going to get deep off into that. Let's let it continue.
Insane. He's not psychotic. He was able to plan, lead, and execute a complicated military operation.
This was a detailed, goal-directed endeavor. And in psychosis, what you do not see is goal-directedness.
So working out a plan to invade Britain, including the construction of forts, indicates the ruthless, tyrannical Caligula is actually sane. But that's not going to save him. During his short reign, he's made a lot of enemies. And new archaeological finds, never seen before on camera, will shed light on the moment his life came to a bloody end. Caligula is now 29. He's ruled Rome for less than 4 years, and he's out of control. No one is safe from his bloody violence, not even those whose sworn duty it is to protect him. His Praetorian guards.
The ancient sources tell us that Caligula is abusing his Praetorian guards. He's making fun of one for an effeminate voice. He's making fun of another one by sleeping with his wife. This is utter madness. These are the people that have your backs. These are the people that are protecting your life and limb.
Caligula seems to have a death wish. On a cold January day in 41 AD, he attends the Palatine Games in Rome. Excited crowds fill the theater and spill out onto the street. The atmosphere is charged. At lunchtime, Caligula leaves the games. He enters an underground passage called a cryptoportico and heads towards his palace. He won't get there alive.
This kind of cryptoportico or underground passageway would link you, like in a maze, from one point of the palace to another. And this is a great discovery that's been made in recent years.
For almost 2,000 years, these passageways have been lost. Archaeologists discovered them in 2006. And this is the first time cameras have been allowed inside. The first passages discovered were built sometime after Caligula. But as they dug further, they made a find that changed everything.
This is one of the more recent excavation sites, and right here was an important discovery. It says on this lead pipe, this water pipe, Tiberius Claudius Caesar Augustus. Who is Claudius? The successor of Caligula. So we're getting closer and closer to the realities of Caligula. So this is a precious, precious document that means that the archaeologists today are reconsidering the entire dating of this complex.
2 years after this discovery, the archaeologists dug even deeper.
This cryptoporticus is older than the cryptoporticus we've seen. The corridor that Caligula passes through on his way from celebrating the games on the Palatine Hill. We're told that he goes through a cryptoporticus on the Palatine Hill in his palace like this, and he finds himself isolated, away from his bodyguard, away from his retinue, alone.
These are the passages Caligula actually walks down on the last day of his violent life. In the shadows wait two bodyguards, Cassius Caria, who Caligula mercilessly mocked, and Sabinus, whose wife Caligula raped.
And that is when the conspirators strike. Cassius Caria and Sabinus find him here, and they strike the blow. Caligula dies on the ground in a pool of blood.
Caligula has been emperor for 3 years, 8 months, and 10 days. He is just 29 years old. In that brief time, he turned the Romans' love for him into hate and revulsion. He lived for bloody violence. He enjoyed watching the massacre of women and children. He made the bloody and cruel gladiator games bloodier. He raped and he murdered. Where does such behavior of an ancient behaving badly put him on the psychopathic scale of tyrants? Although Caligula might have killed to gain power, most of his killing was for his own entertainment. This psychopathic behavior puts Caligula at the opposite end of the scale to calculating, goal-driven killers like Julius Caesar and Genghis Khan. For them, killing was a necessary part of their grander aims.
He would be very high on a psychopathic scale. His killing without remorse, murder without guilt, inability to see the rights of anybody else around him. This man is a stone-cold psychopath.
But there's another vital aspect to Caligula's personality that sets him apart from the others: his extreme narcissism.
He would score very high on a scale of narcissism, shown by his inflated sense of self-importance, his lack of empathy of others, his need for adulation.
So who in history has a similar personality profile?
I would look to some of Hitler's henchmen, such as Himmler or Goering, for a comparison, in that they combine this narcissistic self-importance, this tremendous inflated self-esteem, coupled with this tremendous psychopathy and lack of remorse whenever people died.
Take psychopathic tendencies, mix them with a big dose of narcissism, and you get one of history's truly terrifying personalities. Made scarier still by the fact that Caligula's evil was cold and calculating. Despite his short reign, Caligula cast a long shadow. Tiberius kept his depravity behind closed doors. Caligula paraded his in public. Fear of Caligula lingered after his death. Perhaps it was a fake. and Caligula was watching in the shadows to see who cheered and who'd be next on his death list.
So you heard it there, family. And see, I'm going to tell you something. While they were trying to assess who was like him as far as psychopaths in history, I'm going to go ahead and make this statement. They're looking all over there across the pond to Germany and talking about Hitler and his Nazis. No. How about we start comparing the psychopaths that are the so-called founding fathers of America? Oh, yes, the Thomas Jeffersons, confirmed pedophile that he was, the Ben Franklins and all the rest of them. Oh, yeah, see, they always try to, this is the thing about that's pathetically hilarious about, the white supremacists here in the United States. They always trying to look over and cast the worst of the worst on other people when I'm like, no, you got to sweep around your own front door first. That's exactly what we're going to do and continue to do on this channel. Censorship be damned, because I'm going to do a part 2 of this in a way where they can't see or censor it. So be looking out for that. I think I made my point tonight here, though, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you were able to get something from it without, the rude interruption throwing us off. Because, again, all I needed was the audio to make the points that I'm making. And see, for young black people that caught this broadcast, whether it was live or recorded, always, when you find yourself questioning things in present day, start getting up to date on your history so that you're not so confused about why these white supremacists operate the way they operate. And once you understand them, then you can also come up with ways to counter the anti-black racism and white supremacist terrorism that they try to inflict upon us. So with that said, salute to everybody that joined us over here tonight. I want you to continue to enjoy your Sunday. Salute to all the fathers out there on this Father's Day. Ladies, hey, those of you that, have children, make sure you do something nice for your children's fathers, whether you're with them or not. Hopefully, y'all are on good terms enough where you can just show the man that he's appreciated, because if he's in your child's life, that's a blessing. You know what I'm saying? That a lot of children do not have. With that said, salute to y'all. Black first. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you all in future content.